It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron, and joining me this morning is Rick Blaze. Rick, what's going on? I know you miss Marsh, but I'm here. It's fine. How you doing, man?
B-Ran. I am very good, thank you. Uh, we're good to go. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, man, let's jump right into it. Of course, there's not a day goes by, it seems like, that we're not getting more updates on the Jimmy Butler saga here in SWBA. It's not getting any better, only getting worse. Most recent developments: he's been suspended indefinitely from the team. Uh, and he walked out of the shoot around. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, man, as this continues to escalate. It started with the trade rumors. Am I going to be traded? Yeah, he's not going to be traded. He wants to be traded. The suspension. He hasn't played really well either. There's so much stuff going on with this situation with Jimmy Butler. And where does it all end? Where does it all end, Rick? Go
I
ahead.
have to, I have to start. I have to say this, and I have to say, I have to get this off my chest. I came here this morning for this show to get my SWBA, Sim World Basketball Association, fix this morning on topic. And I'm a bit disappointed. I have to admit, I'm a bit disappointed. I thought we was talking basketball. Instead, we were talking about a guy who's not even playing on the court. We should be talking about the Houston Rockets, who just beat the Boston Celtics last night on a game winner from Amen Thompson, who just beat Cleveland twice, who's beat OKC, who's number 3 ranked in the West in the whole SWBA. That's what we should be talking about. Jimmy ain't playing basketball. Jimmy not playing basketball. Jimmy ain't got rock. Jimmy ain't got soul. Jimmy ain't on no roll. I don't want to talk about Jimmy Butler. His ass ain't playing.
I understand.
Shout out to the Rockets.
I get you. I understand. I definitely understand that. I'm from other people
And
talk
no,
about
and
too,
sorry,
but hey.
and no, Jimmy, the Rockets don't want you. We good.
Yeah, it's. I think that's the biggest issue though in this whole situation is that his contract and the money that he is getting, um, it makes it hard to trade him to a team. Uh, he's also looking for a contract extension, for $13 million, whatever it is. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it ends with him being on the team. At the end of the season, I'm not too sure if the trade. I can't remember rather if the deadline's already passed, if he traded or not. So that's a whole different thing, though. Once that passed, that's it, right? You can't be traded no more. So
Right.
at that point, you
Not for
got to
this
deal with
season.
it, right? So at that point, you got to deal with it. So they have to find a way to get something done to really get him out of it. If they really want him gone, they'll find a way to get him out of there, right? That's how I feel at this point. That's how I feel. If it's really that bad, you'll find a way to get him out of there.
Well, you got a lot of egos involved. Pat Riley's ego, Jimmy's ego, the head coach ego, the players who feel some kind of way ego. Oh, you got me talking about Jimmy Butler again. No, go ahead. Go be wrong.
Rick,
The Rockets
ego,
looking good, baby. The Rockets
ego
looking
or not,
good.
though. ego or not, ego or not, they
Huh?
have to move. They have to move him. If they
I mean,
want him gone, you gotta move him.
you
That's
got to
it.
do something with them. Um, I mean, he's a 35-year-old guy who's trying to. I don't know what he's trying to do. I mean, I don't know. I can't. The guy who paints his hair blue, orange, teal, turquoise. I don't know what he's thinking.
If
I know
he
what the
were
Rockets are thinking.
playing
They thinking
better,
about Western Conference, baby, championships. That's what we thinking.
hey, look,
Yeah.
if he were playing better, it'd be a different story. But you know, it'd probably either a conversation and a half if he were playing better. Because then you could say, oh, he's commanding X thing or whatever, and he's worth it or whatever. But his play has not been great either, which is also compounding the situation. But let's move on, Ray. You want to talk basketball? We can talk basketball. Let's talk some more basketball. Better than nothing, right? Kentucky new number 1 on top of the SP Top 25 this week, overtaking Duke, who hasn't played in quite a while, as y'all know. Kentucky came out against Missouri in their first game of SEC conference play a few days ago, last week, ended up winning that game, and as a result, the committee moved them back up to number 1. I think this is their second time being there this season. Are they in the right spot though? Is this the right move for the top 25 to do and put them back up there? Even though Duke hasn't played in quite a while, they're on a 13-game win streak, Rick. Kentucky, they won their first game back since not playing in a while too. What are your thoughts before I give my my take on it?
I mean, the SP are the most random groups of individuals I've ever seen in my life. They're just random. So they're reactive and not proactive. They do things after people have already spoke about it, right? We've been talking about, and Marsha said it several times as well, about teams being penalized or being held, their spot held because they're not playing. And so, you've had Duke number 1 for all these weeks, and then now you decide to move Kentucky in because you basically penalizing Duke for not playing. But it's weird to me. You kick a team out of number 1 as they're currently on a 13-game win streak, the best win streak in all of college basketball, and you kick them out of number 1. They didn't lose a game to get out of number 1. You just booted them out of number 1 because I guess you was tired of seeing their face in number 1. Or I guess because you heard people talking about rumors. This is like being in freaking middle school again, sitting at the pool table and trying to decide which table you're going to sit at in the lunchroom. Like, this is wild to me. I could make a case weeks ago for why Kentucky should have been made number 1, but I can't make a case for them now because they played a game while Duke is currently in the midst of a 13-game win streak. This has to be the first time in SimWorld basketball history that a team has lost their ranking, dropped, while being on a 13-game win streak. It makes zero sense. SP, come holler at me because you have fallen off your rocker. I need to be running whatever y'all doing or whatever y'all toking on. Y'all need to stop toking on because that stuff is way too good and way too potent.
So you feel the same way I do, which I agree. I think this is weird to move them now. And I'll say too, yes, they are on the 13-game win streak with number 1. That's true. Villanova's also tied for that longest win streak at 13 games as well. But my question becomes, though, because you moved Duke down because they weren't playing, what happens when they start playing again? They play tonight against Miami, and they beat Miami tonight. But if Kentucky plays Alabama, we'll get to that later on. But if Kentucky plays Alabama and they beat Alabama, but if Duke wins against Miami, do you move Duke back up to number 1? You know what I mean? That's why it's weird to me, Rick. Because yes, you are punishing Duke for not playing. Kentucky played a game. Okay, so now Duke played a game. You moving back up? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? It makes no sense to me. Why that was done? I think, like you said, they heard people talking about it, complaining, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta make a move. We gotta make a change." But you're not Michael Jackson. Figure it out. Look in the mirror and make the right change. I don't think that was the right change, though. I don't think that was the right change.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, conference play is coming up, so conference play is going to be the great equalizer, and I think it's going to end up working itself out one way or the other. But to just make a move, just because you decide to make a move, because you want to make a move, or because you picked a random number out the hat, and on this random day, Kentucky won the lotto, and then you just put that first instead of putting like whatever pin to tell on donkey games they playing back there in the back offices for SP. It's wild out there in these streets. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, we'll see what happens tonight, though, because again, there are some games tonight. A lot of SEC play, a few ACC games as conference play continues around SimWorld U for week 2 of conference play. Alabama, Kentucky play at 6:30. It's on CBS. That is number 6 Alabama and number 1 Kentucky. And then at 8 o'clock, you've got the Tennessee Volunteers and number 16, Mississippi State. Both those games are on CBS, as again, the SEC invades your TV screens tonight on SimWorld TV, on SimWorld TV, Simulcast, CBS, all that stuff. Yeah, you get it. But anyway, we're here, and I think that these games are going to be really good, Rick. Let's preview these games a little bit. DJ Childs and company coming back and trying to bounce back off a loss from Auburn last week in conference play. They came out flat, and now they're trying to, not do that in this game against Kentucky. They can't afford to do that against Kentucky. And Tennessee, I think that they're still a team that, yes, they're struggling, which is unfortunate. But I think this is a good test for them against Mississippi State, who's been on the rise this season as well.
Well, I just preluded to the previous segment about the games working themselves out. I think this is the time. I got Alabama winning this game. I got Alabama beating Kentucky. So I got the games working itself out. I got Duke going back to number one because Alabama's going to lose. I mean, Kentucky's going to lose tonight to Alabama. So that's how I got that set up. And the real question is Tennessee back? And the answer, B-Run, is hell no. Hell no. They not back. I mean, I'm not jumping on no Tennessee Vols train. Y'all can get y'all tickets if y'all want to. That's your prerogative. Do I think they win tonight? Yes. Am I all of a sudden I can see March now. Tennessee Vols don't look now. No, we looking now. We've been looking. No. Good luck. Conference play. I think they are comfortably in a middle of the road team. I think that's who they are. I think that's what they should have been from day one. The hype train. It's funny, I don't hear Trey Turner's name hardly ever mentioned anymore. It's crazy how that hype train just come on and then it just passes on by and it doesn't go back and doesn't go. It's crazy. So I think Tennessee does get the win tonight. I think it's going to be a tough win for them tonight, actually. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a very tough. Mississippi State has a chance to get this thing. Don't get it twisted. But I think Tennessee does get the win. But I'm just saying now, when they do get the win, I don't want everybody all of a sudden the next morning talking about is Tennessee the next. No, they're not. Just relax. They're a middle of the road team. Let them stay in the middle of the road.
So, two things. Oh, well, three things. One, I'm going to take Kentucky. Because I want because I want the drama when Kentucky and Duke win, and then you gotta decide what are we doing with number one. That's what I want. I want the chaos.
That I don't want to see. You're right. I don't want to see that crap.
I want the chaos. I want that chaos next week. Yes, I want to see it. But I'm also gonna take Tennessee in that one too. That's number two. Number three, you said something in that bit there that just stuck out to me. I want to comment on it real quick. Tennessee's middle of the road team, that's what they are. That's true, but and somebody had mentioned on social media about Miami and how they should have never been number one to begin with. That's blasphemous. You can't say that. You can say it now, sure, but you can't look at Tennessee and Miami and those teams that were supposed to be good to start the season and retroactively say, oh, they weren't never supposed to be number one or a middle of the road team. I don't think you're saying that Tennessee was always a middle of the road team. Am I right?
No, I'm saying they should have been labeled a middle of the road team coming into the season. They shouldn't have been
really
coming into the season. Yeah, I didn't see what everybody else was seeing. Now with Miami, they're the champs, so you got to put them at one, right? I think Miami place pieces are better this season than last season. Now it's not showing up in the games. It's not showing up on their win-loss record, but I think they have a better individuals on the team. The team itself, it just isn't better. So for Miami, it was that disturbing drop down. But for Tennessee, I never saw them as a number. It was hype. Everybody was on a hype train. Trade Burner turned, the hype train was rolling, and everybody got on board. And they grabbed their tickets. They bought 2 tickets. They bought one for their wife. They side chick and their child, and then they just took off. And so now that the train has stopped, I hear crickets about Tennessee and Trey Burner Turner now. Crickets.
Right. Well, I think looking at that roster again, in my opinion, I think that coming into the season they were a top team because of the talent on that roster. Rick, sure. Again, you could say that Beckich that could just underperforming now. You can say that now, but last year they weren't doing this. So coming into the season, that team had a ton of hype around them for a lot of things they did last season, and that's what you base those preseason rankings off of last season. And coming into season, what you expect from them. So I think it's fair to say that Tennessee, in my opinion, was a top tier team coming into the season. They ended up being middle of the road right now. Sure, yes. But coming into the season, no. They were in that to be top of the conversation for me. But anyway, let's wrap this thing up, shall we? Because we had some games last night in SimWorld. You had 3 of them to go over, and it was all about the American Conference last night, as a lot of those teams played their various games. Starting first was Princeton.
They're balling.
And yeah, that was a really, really good game yesterday. Princeton ended up coming back to beat Richmond in that one, 66-55. Richmond shot 19%. Princeton shot 22% in the second half. That turned into a slugfest, but I got the win. Davidson, they could not rally. They came up short in there as they fall Wichita State, 82-77. Wildcats were by 16 with 2 minutes left in the game. Bernard James made just one first half field goal before second half, we shot 5 for 9. And finally, Temple and Houston. Temple, 65% in the second half shooting, and the offense exploded in the second half. They knocked off Houston 90-78 in their American Conference game. Freddie Stonewall scored 18. And the concerns on Houston continue as their losing streak now moves to 7 in a row, Rick. 7 games in a row.
In the words of Tupac, how long will they mourn me? I'm trying to figure out how long does Kevin Sampson's leash. I whatever. Just finish out the season. Can we just, if I'm Houston, can I just end the season early so I can go ahead and get started with my off-season things, which is find a new coach? You know what I mean? Can we just end the season? I'm going to forfeit the rest of the games. Y'all got me. We'll take those L's, and we're going to just move on to the offseason so we can start getting right in the ship, starting with getting Kevin Sampson's ass up out of there. And all you guys talking about, well, he's been here and he's historic, and I don't give a damn about all that historic stuff. No one cares. What have you done for me lately? This is a now business. These recruits coming in, these young men you're recruiting, they don't care that you've been good for 20 years. They're like, what are you doing right now? You're trying to get me into your program, and your program is sucking. And guys are not happy in your program. You can't be getting recruits and you suck the way you've been sucking. The coaches that particular coach has lost the team. His message has fallen on deaf ears. If you're the AD for Houston, for crying out loud, get rid of the boy and let's move on. Kevin Sampson, you had a great career. I'm not mad at you. But it's time. Gentlemen, it is time.
Kelvin Sampson had a great career, and there's going to be more basketball tonight. Again, mentioned it tonight. Alabama, Kentucky starting at 6:30, and then Tennessee, Mississippi State at 8 o'clock. Tune in for those games. Be aware, be around for those. Those are going to be good to watch. And of course, game of the week tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. North Carolina and Duke at 6:30 p.m. That's going to be so fun. I'll be on the call for that one, so I think we'll tune in for that one. We'll promo that one tomorrow, I'm sure. There's so many games. Although the course of the week as conference play continues to roll here. And that's going to wrap up our show. Rick, pleasure with being with you here as always. Well, I'll be back with you tomorrow, man. So we'll do this all again tomorrow. So, everybody, for Rick,
I'll be here.
Remember, SimWorld's the only place you can see the game, be the game. And we'll see you tomorrow.
This has been a presentation